Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth day of 1 week online faculty development program on exploring multidimensional perspectives of scientific research writing between 4 to 8 August, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Faculty Development Committee of Adarsh Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, KT Patil College of Pharmacy, Usmanabad. I am your all-time host, Ms. Chitra Hangargekar, Assistant Professor, KT Patil College of Pharmacy, Usmanabad. I hope you all are safe at your home and gear up to attend the session for today. Dear participants, we have one session lined up today, like every day. Let us begin our session for fourth day. Our resource person for today is Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingre sir, a very renowned senior lecturer and editor-in-chief, JPRCP, Wolters Kluwer, Department of Pharmacy Practice, School of Pharmacy, International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, who will orient us about referencing and avoiding plagiarism in scientific writing. Friends, as an academics or researchers, we always try to add original contribution to human knowledge by finding gap in research and by studying very specific topics in detail. As a researchers, you are not expected to make any big discoveries. However, a level of originality is still expecting in your writing. Plagiarism is the act of wrongful appropriation or simply stealing and publishing of other authors or writers' ideas, thoughts, language, and expressions. It is also the representation of the own original work of another individual. This act is considered to be academic dishonesty and as well as a breach of journalistic ethics. Plagiarism is a major problem for research. There are, however, divergent views on how to define plagiarism and what make plagiarism reprehensible. In this session, we explicate the concept of plagiarism and importance of referencing and citation will be discussed in relation to research. We suggest that plagiarism should be understood as someone using someone else's intellectual property, such as text, ideas, or results, thereby implying that it is their own and argue that this is an adequate and fruitful definition. We will discuss a number of circumstances that make plagiarism more or less grave and the plagiarizer more or less blameworthy. Before we begin, I would like to request Dr. Aruna Birazdar ma'am to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingre sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Chitra. Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Dr. Aruna Devi Chantapa Birazdar, working as a professor and HOD of Quality Assurance Department in KT Patil College of Pharmacy since last 10 years. I first, on the behalf of Adarsh Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, KT Patil College of Pharmacy, heartily welcome to all the participants as well as today's guest speaker, Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingre sir. On the occasion of the E-Fdp program, that is topic is the exploring multidimensional perspectives of the scientific research writing. It has been started from 4th of August and it will end at 8th August. And in previous sessions, we have already discussed about what is the research paper writing, different funding agencies, and how to write the projects to get a funding from the different agencies. What is the role of patenting in the research? Today, our speaker is going to highlight on the referencing and how to avoid the plagiarism in the scientific writing. Now, today I am here to introduce our international eminent personality, that is Dr. Praveen Kumar Vishwanath Ingre sir, who is working as a senior lecturer since 2014 in the Department of Pharmacy Practice, that is School of Pharmacy, International Medical University, Malaysia. He is also serving as editor-in-chief, that is the Journal of Pharmaceutical Research and Clinical Practice, which is published under the well-known publisher, that is the Madno publication since 2011. He is also founder and president of the Harvey Education Society, He has the past experience in Maharashtra from 2006 to 2014. He has been worked in the R.C. Patil Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Shirpur, Maharashtra. He's also having the total teaching experience 14 years, and he's working as an editor from last 10 years. He has been published more than 50 research reviews and short communication papers in different national and international journals. He is also working as a supervisor, as a guide for UG and PG students for their dissertation. He secured a research grant of RM, that is the Regnin Malaysia, more than 1 lakh rupees for the research of UG and PG student from the university. He has also participated in the different international national webinars and focused on the different topics of clinical relevance and the patient safety. He has participated more than 35 seminar, conference, workshops, trainings at national and international level. He is also served as advisor for the 6th International Postgraduate Conference on Pharmaceutical Sciences, which has been held in 2018 in the International Medical University, Malaysia. He is also working or serving as assessor, examiner, evaluator for UG, PG and PhD thesis in well-known universities. Actively, he has been involved in designing, developing, curriculum mapping, and the content delivery of newly launched Master in Pharmacy Practice, that is a postgraduate course. And he is also involved in the curriculum review of mapping, development, and designing the case-based learning as well as the problem-based learning. Apart from teaching and administration, he is also involved in the developing teaching tools, teaching and coordinating other academic activities, sessions like blended learning, objective, structural, clinical examination, skill development, distancing, then
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I think she lost the connection.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No worries.
Yes, sir. Shall you start for the
Yes.
presentation? Okay.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Dr. Aruna Devi, and thank you, Chitra Madam, for giving my introduction. And then, with starting with this FDP, to my opinion, I know that you already conducted some lecture sessions, right?
Yes, sir.
Before my session, I believe this is fourth or fifth day, right? Fourth day, I
Yes,
think.
sir. Yes.
Yeah, so before that, you already, the audience, just I want to tell the audience and participants, they knows already the basics of research now and how to publish and what are the criteria we need for the publication, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
thank you for a nice introduction. And now I will start with my session. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if, is it visible now, right?
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to do in full mode, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Thank
So
you, sir.
at the outset, I would like to thanks to KT Patil College of Pharmacy Management and also Dr. Amol Joshi's team for inviting me for this FDP and sharing my views to the audience, and also to all the audience. Very good afternoon to all the audience, to all the faculty members, to all the online viewers, those are watching this session, maybe today and maybe in upcoming times. So today we have some topic. So actually, I'm having as you know my introduction already. So I'm dealing with editor-in-chief position from last 10 years. So what I understand from these, and while publishing the articles, so basically I'm sharing my knowledge here today with all of you, with my all 10 years experience in the field of publication. So basically, we have today's topic is referencing and avoiding plagiarism in scientific writing. So there are many types of scientific writing actually. Okay, so today we are going to see that what are those particular scientific writing, and how as a pharmacist, or is not only related with the pharmacy field, but even though I can say like it is it is applicable to all the fields, all the other programs, also all the other the faculties. Okay, so it's not only limited to the pharmaceutical education and the research, but the other the science faculty and other also, they can gain some knowledge from this particular session, right? So just we'll start with this session now. Okay, so again, I would like to thanks to IMU, that is the International Medical University Management also, and also the our Dean School of Pharmacy, Dr. Zul, and Associate Dean Prof. Ong, and also the Prof. Arjun, and also my Head of the Department of Pharmacy Practice, Dr. Imran, for motivating me to deliver such a type of the lectures online in the international webinar, or maybe in the FDP, or in conferences, right? So this is a international medical university where I'm working, and in short, we call as IMU is Malaysia's first and most established private medical and health sciences university with 28 years of dedicated focus in healthcare education. So in IMU, we have the healthcare type of educations, right from the medical, dentistry, pharmacy, and all other uh, paramedical courses, right? Like the nutrition and dietitian and all other programs. Okay, and IMU has Setara 2017 rating of 6 stars. So university got this rating 6 stars, is the highest one, and received outstanding award in the under the mature university category. Okay, so this is all about my university where I'm working in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So this is my YouTube channel. So the audience and the participants, what you can do, you can just visit to the YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel, and then you can refer the some lectures related with the pharmacy field, and might be with that you can enhance your knowledge in the field of pharmacy, and also some of the lectures are relevant to the your basic skills enhancement, right? So just start with the positive quote. So what I did in this time period of pandemic scenario, I developed my skills of writing the quotes, and this is the quote what I believe is relevant to the today's session. Like make a plan, set goal, work smart, and achieve target. Okay, so by this way you can achieve your target, but don't find the shortcut to do that. Okay, at the same time you need to maintain the quality, as like in earlier session Dr. Chitra mentioned correctly what do you mean by plagiarism and how you can maintain your quality publication, right? So this is not the way, like you have to do a lot of publication and a lot of things, but it's depend on the individual, and it's your the capability to do the things like that, and also have the interest in the research. So that is the basic things I want to tell you to all of you, and that's how you nurture your brain to initiate the thought process and to have the publication or maybe the research type of work in your field. Okay, so we have certain titles in our today's session. So the first one is background. Okay, in background we are going to see what do you mean by reference, and then citation, and also the plagiarism? What is the importance of citation of the references and how to cite? Okay, so next one is the introduction, where we can see what are those particular the types of citation, the reference citation, and also the importance of plagiarism, how we can deal with the plagiarism and things like that, right? The third one is mainly focusing on the importance of citation references, along with some literature I mentioned here. So how you can cite and how you can cite the references in the text, as well as how you can have the different style of citation, and how you can use different software and tools in the in this particular plagiarism and also the citation of the references. Okay, so fourth one is mainly related with the plagiarism, like how to avoid plagiarism in scientific writing. So once you know that what are those particular scientific writing, you know the way also to deal with that, and how to be have a content that is free of plagiarism. Okay, so lastly is a message that I want to deliver to all of you as a pharmacist, as a future pharmacist, as a future researcher. And I believe that, to my opinion, this session will be helpful for you as a researcher, as also as a if you are in pursuing your PhD, you're writing your thesis, you're writing your dissertation, you're writing some assignment, because especially for the student, those are in B Farm or also M Farm. So I believe that it will be helpful for all of you in some sort. So I try to quote some examples here that will give you the insight of the topic, and by that way you can understand this topic very well, because this topic is very dry, and sometimes by citing the references, sometimes the people feel very bored, right? So this is the way how we tackle the things, and then we need to have the certain other options, right? In the olden era, like I remember that everyone is used to cite the references with the help of manually, but nowadays certain softwares are available, and that's how we move forward. And then you can cite the references, and you can also check the similarity index, and also the plagiarism in the work, and that's how you improve upon your work. And then there is the chances of obviously with the great success in the research, right? So starting with the first point, background. Okay, so why I choose this topic, and why there is a necessity of to have this particular topic, the citation of the references, and also uh, the plagiarism, the checking the plagiarism, right? So still there are a lot of articles coming in the journals, and still this field is need to be grow in a in an academic integrative way. So this the particularly the enhancement of knowledge in this particular field is still required. And then as a pharmacy student, as a future researcher, you should know the role of referencing in the in the scientific writing, as well as how to you know uh, search the work that is going that is done by the earlier researcher, and also how you are going to create a work that is plagiarize free. Okay, so that is very important. So that's why this topic is selected. And what is the need of time now? Okay, so now you can see there are many institute organization, and now the university also, they took an initiative, like if you are doing your PhD, if you are doing your any type of research, so at least you should have some some research publication along with your UG, or also in the PG, and also in the PhD. So now in most of the university, the PhD work should come with the good type of the research work. So that's how there is a need of knowing how we are going to cite the references, and also how we are going to protect us to not get plagiarized, because there are certain complications if you're plagiarizing any work from the earlier study. Okay, so that's how there is a need of time to have this type of skill enhancement in the curriculum, right? So that's how the competitive world now, everyone is publishing lots of article, and now they are making their skills to be have a good researchers by doing some research and also having some the meta analysis even, right? So even though doing the research and also having some review articles to go through, and you can still publish the articles with the meta analysis, and then you can succeed in that publication, right? So pharmacy curriculum. So how we can deal with this pharmacy curriculum whenever it comes to this today's session, like referencing and the plagiarism, because many universities, they don't have this topic as a part of curriculum, right? So most of the university, they don't teach the student to how to deal with the referencing and how to deal with the particularly plagiarism, right? So that particular the area is lacking now. Maybe in future the university and also to the higher authority, they may think to have this type of the skills enhancement in the curriculum. We understand that it's not that easy to add on everything in the curriculum, but still this is a the requirement, the need of time to enhance the knowledge of this particular citing the references and also the plagiarism in the student, in the future student, future pharmacists, future researchers. So that's how we discuss about the pharmacy curriculum, and also with the importance of the references and also the plagiarism. Okay, so what are those types of scientific writing? I believe that you already completed some sessions earlier, like what are the different the articles and the types of articles you can communicate with the journal, and also the things like that, right? So today also I'm going to give you the brief idea about what are those types of scientific writing we can communicate with the journal. And also it will start from the assignment. Even you can think about the student, those are submitting the assignment, that particular trend is now is growing, but still we need to do a lot of efforts in that particular field to have the proper academic integrity in the in the academics, right? So that's how we need to strategize our long-term vision, rather focusing with the short-term vision of just publication of the any research article or any review article. So you need to be see it with the long perspective, the long-term strategy, instead of looking only at that particular point of time. So that's how academic integrity roles comes here whenever it deals with the student. So student need to be very honest, okay, whenever they are submitting their work, whenever they are submitting their assignment. Okay, so they need to be very trusty, and then they need to be very honest with their work, and they need to do that particular work with the given time. So time management is also one of the important factor. Whenever it comes the time management, sometimes the plagiarism occur due to the lack of time, because the student won't have the much time. So that's why just they what they do, they copy paste, right? So that's how we need to have that particular time management also, to avoid this type of plagiarism. Okay, and need to develop our own content. And if you're using any type of the older research work, or any the things like that, the review article, so you need to quote accordingly, you need to cite that particular reference. Without citing, that comes here in the plagiarism. So that's how the citation is very important. Whenever you're not citing any reference, then there is a chances of getting more plagiarism in your works. Okay, so that's a basic thumb rule you need to know about the referencing and also the citation and about the plagiarism. Okay, so these are the types of scientific writing. Okay, some of you might be aware about this, but some of you might be you can enhance your knowledge accordingly. Okay, so many journals, they have their own way of having their own guidelines, right? So if you're going through the journal website, there are certain author instructions are given, right? So why I'm telling this type of things to you now, what are the types of scientific writing here, because these are the basic things you should know before going for the citation or before going for the reference citation, and also for the plagiarism. Because plagiarism is not only related with the research article, it is also related with the review article and whatever the other scientific writing types comes here in this slide. Okay, so that's how it's not only limited with the research article, right? So that's why I want to tell you that the research article comes here. You can see the parts here: the original research article, research brief, okay, proposed model. So sometimes some researchers are doing some the modeling, right? Mainly in the practice area and also in the medical field. So that's how the proposed model they will propose with the any to the any journal, and that's how they will get the publication out of that, right? So that's how this comes under the research article category, right? Again, a review article. Okay, so that might be the simple writing review, or might be the systematic review. Okay, it might be the meta-analysis by using the software and using the the previous data, the olden data, okay, of other scientists, and that's how you do the systematic reviews and also the meta-analysis. So nowadays you can see the COVID-19, right? So many types of systematic reviews and meta-analysis nowadays coming with the recent updates, like which type of, say suppose for example, the case of asthma and use of corticosteroid and also the use of antiviral drugs, right? So that's how we will get the new update with the help of meta-analysis to compare a lot of studies together, and then give some conclusion to the researchers, scientists, to the physician, to the healthcare team, to have the better treatment for the patient, those having this type of particular comorbidities and the complications, right? So that's how the review article plays an important role, and that comprise of all other things mentioned here, including the book as well as the software reviews. Okay, so book and software reviews also important, like some scientists, they will read some books, and by that way they can publish their some content like a summary, right? So every, like some of the journal, they have their own guideline, like publishing the book or the software review. So what you can do, like a abstract, what we have for the research article, for the review article, so you need to write a summary of the book or the software, and you need to communicate that particular things to the journal, and that's how it will come under the review article category. Okay, another category is a short communication, also coming under the scientific writing, that is research or the review and the recent updates. Okay, so compared to the research article, these are like short communications and only focusing on the some particular area, rather giving the background and all other things, right? So next comes here is a case study and the reports, specifically the case study related with the clinical relevance, and also with the some pathological aspect, with some the case to discuss with the comorbidities or having the some chronic condition, and might be the reports along with the lab investigations. So that's come under the case study and the reports. Editorials, so letter to editor. Okay, so might be the novel things, might be the some new topic of interest, and also the commentaries. Okay, commentaries also the new recent updates going on in the field of pharmacy, or maybe any other field in the science field or any other fields where you're working. So that all editorials comes here in the this particular two categories. Okay, whenever you're thinking about your PhD, so those are pursuing and watching this particular session, okay, maybe now or maybe in in the coming time. So those are doing PhD, those are writing their thesis, those they registered for the PhD. So right from the research proposal, whenever you are submitting to your university, and that need to be go through the plagiarism check. Okay, so earlier this practice was not there, but nowadays many universities, they are following this type of practices to have the proper referencing and also proper plagiarism check. So they are using their own, particular software. But here I'm going to reveal some of the software that is used globally, and that's how you can make your content very reliable, and that is, with the use of validated particular types of software. Okay, so that's how the PhD, it will start from the research proposal. Okay, presentation. So presentation, actually, we don't have any type of, the software that can check the presentation, but still we can see wherever is, you have cited proper reference or not, or if you are cited wrongly the reference, that also we can detect, okay, by seeing the title of the article and also the paragraph you have written in your presentation. So that's how, the our initiative, and also the those are, those are assessing that particular student. So that particular initiative comes from the assessor external point of, in that particular point. Okay, so progress report. So after registration of your PhD and after all these things, the research proposal and the presentation, there is a progress report, right? So this field also now, progress report need to be, checked with the plagiarism. Okay, so if you are just copying the other material and, and just submitting that particular data, so nowadays it's not acceptable. Many universities, they started their own initiative to have the plagiarism checker, and that's how they are improving and having the proper academic integrity, right? So that same goes for the dissertation and the thesis also. So nowadays the dissertation thesis also will be, screened with the software with the plagiarism, and also the particularly the references. Okay, they will check for the references, whether the references are given accordingly with their policy or not, because many universities, they have the different way of, citing the references. Some are following Vancouver style, some are following the Harvard style, right? So as per my knowledge, like most of the university I know, with the Indian perspective, like most of them, they are following with the this two type of, referencing style very widely, and there are other referencing styles also. Some universities are using that, we are going to see in the upcoming slides. Okay, so this is about the proposal for funding. So I know that earlier there was a one lecture, right? Dr. Mahajan delivered a lecture regarding the funding and how to get the funding and also the resources. So whenever you're proposing, if you're having any proposal to submit to the any funding agency, that might be the government or the private one. So nowadays still they can check your, plagiarism with that. Okay, so whenever you're submitting your soft copy along with the hard copy, okay, that document, they can still check the plagiarism with the software, whether this content is your own or just you copy paste from the any resource. Okay, so that's how you need to be very vigilant in that. Whenever you are submitting any particular soft copy or the hard copy, even they can see the content, whether it's, your own made, or might be it's, just the simple copy paste from the any other resource. Okay, and also they can recognize with the references, the way you cited the references. Okay, whether it's in a proper way or not. Okay, so that's how, again, the progress report and final report, those are submitting to the funding agency, also mainly comes under this category nowadays. Okay, earlier this practice was not there, but nowadays many universities, they started doing this type of, good practice of publishing, and also with the that also consider the the research proposal to be submitted to the university or might be to the funding agency, right? So last part is coming is the assignment. Okay, so this mainly dealing with the students. So those are, you know, the UG students. Some university they have the assignment submission in between their curriculum, and also some PG students, they are submitting their assignment regularly for some type of their in-course assessment. So that's how the assignment also need to be have the proper references, as well as it should be checked with the plagiarism checker software. Okay, so many universities now they adopted this, the assignment also, and research proposal also. Those are doing the PG student, those are doing their research, in that they need to do they need to have the presentation, and also with the research proposal submission. Okay, so that's how the role of references and also the role of plagiarism comes here in this scientific writing. Okay, so dear participants and online viewers, hope so you are learning all these things with me. And again, these are the scientific writing, right? So might be some of you knows earlier, and might be some of you can improve your knowledge by getting these all types of subcategory, and what are the subtitles coming under these each category. Okay, so these are the scientific writing way how you can write the, scientific any article, or might be the research or the review or any other the research funding process. Okay, so here you might be thinking now where to communicate your scientific work, right? So now you know what are those particular, the areas where you can have your work, and that might be your research work, or might be the review, or might be the other scientific work. Okay, and also if somebody is having their own software, so you might need to have your own, writing the summary. So that's how you can communicate to any particular journal, or might be you need to publish with the online, or might be you want to do some online blog. Okay, so that one also you can do with the citation of proper references along with the plagiarism check. Okay, so whenever it comes with the publication, so how to select the journal. Okay, selection of journal is very important. Okay, so that depends upon the different criteria, like what is the requirement of your university. So whether it's a Scopus index journal, as like, in the coming time, we can see the UGC approved journal, right? So that's trend is also going on in India. So UGC approved journal, or the Scopus index journal, or the indexing. So which type of indexing, like, sometimes the impact factor, and also the Scopus indexing or the ISI indexing. Okay, so many indexing things are there, the organizations are there. So you need to know first your need your criteria to publish your work, and that's how you need to come up with the quality of your research work. Okay, with all these aspects keeping in mind, okay, whatever we discussed earlier. And that's how you can communicate with the suitable journal, okay, by checking its indexing and all other things, right? So as like I talked with the organizer, and then they told me to highlight some of the things like this. That's why I'm highlighting this, the background knowledge before going for the our main topic, the citation and also the plagiarism, right? So what do you mean by H index? So H index is particularly introduced in this great scientist called as Hirsch, the Dr. Hirsch. He's introduced this H index in 2005, right? So that is the, the H index might be you can consider with your Google Scholar. And again, it's depend on the in your organization, your company, what type of things they accept, right? So H index mainly you can consider with the Scopus, and also with the ISI, and also the Shimago is one of the indexing things, indexing organization, right? H index. So that's how you can simply start with the Google, and also go further beyond to explore with the H index, right? And then I-10 index. Okay, I-10 index is like, out of, say, suppose you have the your 10 publication, and out of 10 publication, like 5 publication is having the 10 citation. Okay, so your I-10 index is 5. Okay, H index is like, how many citation you have out of 10 articles. So out of 10 articles, say suppose your 4 articles is having the 4 minimum or 5 minimum citation, so your H index will be 5. Okay, so it's depend like how many citation you have for your particular articles. So out of 10 you have the 5 articles that is mainly cited minimum 5 times, so your H index will be 5. Okay, I10 index also 5, because your the other fellow is having the articles, the 5 articles that is indexed 10 times. So another fellow is, so these are the 2 examples for the H index and for the I10 index. Okay, the impact factor. So now many, the organization, they are coming, the predatory, some, the some type of false organization, they are coming, and then they are telling that we have the impact factor agency or something like that. So I don't believe on that. So impact factor mainly you can consider with the ISI. Okay, ISI, and also the things I will show you afterwards, how to calculate the impact factor. Mainly the organization, they are dealing with that, how they are calculating the impact factor, and how they are particularly assuring the quality of the journals. Okay, so obviously some journals they are charging and some are free of cost. So obviously as an author you need to know the publication or the processing charges of the journals, and on that basis you are going to submit your article to that particular journal, right? So that's how you need to think globally instead of thinking at the national level, and that's how you can grow further and move forward, right? So this is the interface of Google Scholar. Okay, so here I given some interface of the indexing and also the some system. Okay, so I acknowledge them also for using their interface. Okay, and this particular video is for only for the teaching purpose and no commercial use for this video, right? So that's how the Google Scholar you can use as the starting phase, as those are using their research, and you can move forward and to have the better the things like Shimago, and also apart from that Shimago, this is the platform where later you can go through and explore these things. Okay, because for this given time this is not possible to explore each and everything. So I try to compile all the things, and then further you can go in detail afterwards. Okay, with this Shimago, so where you can search the journal, and mainly in this Shimago you can find the journal rank and also the tier. So what is the tier? Like tier 1 journal, tier 2 journal, or like it's called as a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay, so that's how you can see what is the quality of that particular journal. Okay, by using this platform. Another platform is Clarivate, that is a Web of Science. This is a very important. Here you can see the ISI and all other things. Okay, so ISI, those are cited in the ISI indexing, those journals particularly. So those are like globally recognized journals. So here in this website also you can get a list of journals those having the impact factor. Sometime in the journals website you may find their impact factor might be old, like 1 year old or something like that, because sometime in this their website they will upload, maybe update after some time. So here you can go with this website like Web of Science, and you can find out the current impact factor of any particular journal. Okay, and this is how this Web of Science is accepted globally. Okay, so these are the particular products available with the Web of Science. So I am thankful to Web of Science also, and then I'm sharing the interface for the knowledge purpose. Okay, so these are the things like the Web of Science, the master journal list. Okay, so here you will get all the master journal list. Okay, they have certain their software also that will be utilized for some of the things like the reference style, that is a end note that we are going to see afterwards. The use of end note in the reference style and citation of the reference. Okay, publons, where the reviewer reviewer can enroll themselves, and then if they have any review particular for any particular article, they can cite here and then they can get a credit out of that. Okay, that's the benefit of the Publon. That's how the Web of Science is supporting with the researchers. And also they have their ISI indexing also, where they are generating the journal citation report, and that's how the impact factor of particular journal, right? So with my opinion, this journal citation reports will give you the correct quality of the journals, okay, the impact in the community, and that's how they calculate their impact factor with this ISI. So ISI is particularly the Institute for Scientific Information. Later you can go through their website and you can explore many things from here, and that's how you can improve your the knowledge of publishing in a good quality journals. Okay, so that's how the impact factor will be calculated, depend on the clarity analytics. So earlier slides, Web of Science, depend on this. I given this example here. Okay, so say suppose for the journal that having the certain impact factor in 2019. So this is the formula to calculate that, right? So just I will summarize this. So what they consider to calculate 2019 impact factor is that they will see the citation, particularly the 2019 citation for an article those published in 2017 and 18. So previously the 2 years, they took a 2 years, and then they calculated in 2019 how the articles get cited. Okay, and then the number of articles the journal published particularly in 2 years time period, that is 2017 and 18. So that's how B divided by C, that is the number of citation in this in that particular year for 2017 and 18 articles, and then the number of articles the journal published in 2017 and 18. So that's how you get 2019 impact factor that particular for that particular journal. So that's how the clarity analytics they calculate their own way. But nowadays the clarity analytics, they come up with the many qualitative the some factors also. One of the component they introduced recently is insight. So insight is another parameter that's they will they will assess the quality of the journal. Okay, so there are certain other parameters also they will consider, they will take into consideration to measure a particular impact factor for that particular journal. Okay, so that's about the background of this session, right? So introduction, citation and the references. So why we need actually the citation and reference? So particularly whatever the scientific writing you are doing, okay, so you are giving some credibility to the earlier author whenever you are citing their work, right? Whenever you are giving a reference of any particular the earlier scientists, earlier researchers, so you are giving the credit to them. Okay, so without giving the credit, that comes under the plagiarism. So that's why you should know that the citation of the references, and also in a correct way. Okay, in a correct way, that is also much important, rather giving the some the reference that is not valid. Okay, so sometimes it may happen due to the intentionally, sometimes it may happen due to the unintentionally also, because of doing a lot of things at the same time. Okay, so these are the causes how the plagiarism occur in an intentional and unintentional way. Okay, so that's why there is a role of citation references in the scientific writing. Okay, so dear participants, why this citation and the references is important? So that's how the one part is credibility, another part is the other things, the other side of the coin. You need to see the other side also. What is the other side? Actually, whenever you are giving the credit to the the earlier articles, to the earlier scientists, at the same time the journal will also get the citation. okay, and also that people will be get recognition whenever they have the lot of citation, and also the lot of the viewers, those are watching that particular research article, and that's how they will get some credit out of that. So that's why it is important to cite and give the right credit to the right person. Okay, sometime what happen, you're checking the articles and you're giving the cross references that mention in that particular parent article, but you're not maybe like unintentionally you're not citing the parent article, those are you're referring, because you're citing the references inside from that article, but the main article you're not citing sometime, or might be it's a unintentional way you're not citing that, but that's also come under the plagiarism, because there are lots of types of plagiarism. That's why you need to be very careful while citing the references, and also giving the proper credit to the proper person, proper author, proper researcher. Okay, and that's how the plagiarism rules come here. Whenever you're not citing any proper reference, you're not giving any credit to them, that's how the role of plagiarism comes here. And then there are certain types of plagiarism, because everyone is having their own thinking, and that's how they did a mistake in a past time. And there are a lot of examples also available in some of the website that I will tell you later on in the COPE, like Committee on the Publication Ethics. So that is called as COPE. You can see a lot of examples given there related with the plagiarism, and also the types of plagiarism they done the author already in the past some few years, right? That's why sometimes it may create complication whenever you're not citing, you're not giving the credit to the author, and that's how you may face some struggle in the life whenever you caught by doing any plagiarism. Okay, whenever it is checked by the third party, and then you caught and having the much complication in the latter time, because in US there are laws related with that, and it's it's offense if you're doing plagiarism. It's a offense, and it's a serious offense, even though I can say it's a serious offense if you're just copying the text of the other article and publishing as your own, right? So that's how you need to be very careful in that. Okay, and that's how this is the one of the article. So I want to tell thanks to these two authors. They publish this particular writing references and using citation management software. Okay, so they highlighted this particular two software here. One is the EndNote and another is a Mainly. So these are the two most important software mainly used by most of the we can say globally, like EndNote and the Mainly. So these are the two software mainly we can use for the citation of references, instead of in the olden time we are doing it manually. So here this is the article, you can go through afterwards if you are more interested to know about this. And another article is mainly focusing on the importance of proper citation of references in biomedical articles. Okay, so here this particular author given the importance why the citation should be there in the particular journals, and why that is important in article. Okay, so whenever you are submitting any particular article to the journal, the chief editor obviously they will go through your references. Okay, and they will see the quality of references you mention in your references section. Okay, some of them called as a bibliography, some of them called as a references. Bibliography is a the broad term where the references comes in, and also the articles that author read apart from the references. Okay, so that's how the we can differentiate like superficially how the bibliography and like references are differing from each other. Okay, so these are the some common causes of the plagiarism. Okay, so today's session is mainly related with the avoiding, how to avoid the plagiarism. Okay, so these are the common causes of plagiarism. One is the intentional and another one is the unintentional. Some of the, the components are overlapping with the intentional and unintentional one. Okay, because some are thinking that I'm not doing plagiarism. That is their own belief, their own thinking, but that is not the case, right? So you need to know first the policy and what do you mean by plagiarism, and also what are the different types of plagiarism. Even though if you don't know about the types of plagiarism and also the example of plagiarism, then you might be in the struggle sometime to have the plagiarism in your publication. Okay, so that's how intentional. Sometimes the people think that their own belief is that will not get caught. Okay, sometimes the people think that okay, I'm doing the plagiarism, but I will not get caught by anyone. Okay, because they are not using the software. So that's how they are taking advantage of it. Okay, so that's how the intentional plagiarism goes on. Another thing is cut copy paste, like that is the trend sometime in the mostly we can it may happen due to the lack of time, the time management in the research, and sometimes it may occur in the student life also because of a lot of things the student has to do in their curriculum to complete all the assignment and also facing to the the examination. So that's how this particular cut copy paste culture comes here, and that's how that lead to the plagiarism. Okay, sometimes the people are not aware what do you mean by citation, why to cite, why to give the credit to the others, or sometimes they intentionally do that. Okay, they don't want to cite that because sometimes if they cite then they may get caught. So that is their own belief. Okay, so that's how they can do the plagiarism if they are not citing. So that is their own belief. Okay, borrowing for the betterment. So sometimes the student in the there are many cases reported in the journals and also in the literature. Okay, so sometimes the student uh, giving their work, the one student giving their work to the another student, and also they are interchanging their all other assignment to get the better marks. Okay, but sometimes the some student they will get more marks because there is no plagiarism checker, right? But sometimes if there is a plagiarism checker software, so ultimately they will get caught by the assessor, right? So that is the advantage we can say of the software, so that we can check at least the similarity index and also the plagiarism. Because certain time sometime there is a also problem with the detecting the plagiarism, as like there is a content is much altered or paraphrased by the author sometime. So it's very hard sometime to even check with the software. So that is a trouble nowadays. The some software they have, and might be like in future time we can expect much more from them. So competency in writing. So sometimes the people are not more competent, not more confident to write something. So that's how they copy paste from the other articles. So these are the intentional way of doing the plagiarism. Another way is unintentional way, that is a lack of awareness. Okay, again the same thing, they don't know about the plagiarism, they don't know about the citation of the references, they don't know the sites, the types of plagiarism and also the types of references, and that's how unintentionally they do the plagiarism sometime in their life, right? Competency in writing, that is the same point here. Okay, the overlapping here with the unintentional one. Own belief about the plagiarism, that is the same, like their own thinking, how they think about the plagiarism. But the still, if the student are in university, they should know that, and they should know the policy of the plagiarism and how to avoid plagiarism, and how we can improve writing the skills, right? So communication and also the writing skill is much important wherever you go in the current time. Lack of strategy and policies. So that's how there is a lack of strategy and policies. The many institute, they need to come up with the strategy, the policy for the plagiarism and also for the citation of the references. Even though some universities still they are lacking with this the strategy, with the academic integrity and also the policies, right? So that's how they need to improve in that aspect, and we can avoid the plagiarism in the future time. So this is one of the example I given here. What student think about the plagiarism in Egypt? So these are the they did some public university survey, and then they reported here like the students are feeling like that should be there in their curriculum. So even though the students, if they're entering in their university life, they should know that what do you mean by a reference citation, how to cite the references, what are the types of references, and the plagiarism, how to avoid that, what are the types of plagiarism. And once they know that, obviously they are getting protected to get plagiarize their work, and also they knows the rationale of doing the quality work, right? So that's how some of the articles they highlighted, these are the types of things. So this particular author, they given the survey related to this particular university. So another article is also dealing with the plagiarism in the context of education and evolving detection strategies. Okay, so they given particularly how we can deal with the strategies with the detection. So like what type of software we can use in the plagiarism check. Okay, and they mention here in the anti-plagiarism strategies, what one institute or organization they can do for betterment of the quality publication. Okay, so if you are more interested, you can go and find out and explore the articles, okay, afterwards. So these are the importance of citation and the references. Okay, so what are those particular important point comes here in the citation and the references. The first one is a framework. So whatever the assignment, or might be the research article, might be the review article, or might be your scientific writing, so you should have the some framework first, right? So you need to have the title and all other things, the quality of work. Okay, and after that you will think about how to cite the references in text. Okay, so there are two way how we can cite the references. The one is in text, in the body. Okay, so in the body means like from the abstract. So abstract, there is no need of mentioning the references, right? So after the abstract there is a keywords, and after that there is an introduction, right? So introduction, you need to mention certain type of references, right? So references start from the introduction, and after that you need to cite in text. That's why it is called as a in text references. And that particular references you are giving at the end of your work. That might be the research work, that might be the review article, that might be your research proposal you are submitting to the any the body, right, agency. So that's how in-text references, and also the references at the end of your work that you're going to cite. Okay, and as we discussed, there are two main referencing style. One is the Harvard, and another one is the Vancouver referencing style, right? So now you might be thinking that what are the other types of references citation other than the Vancouver style and the Harvard style? Because most of you might be aware about these two types of referencing style, but what other referencing styles we have in particular journal, and also for the particular funding agency or any other university setting. Okay, so this is about the scientific writing. As we talk about earlier, is a framework, right? So for writing any scientific work, these are the content you should have. The first one is the title, the content. Okay, so title is a very important, like the title can reveal everything from your the content. So if you're writing a suitable title, so that is very important whenever you're going for the scientific writing. Okay, resources, literature, guidelines, policy. So obviously you need to mention lot of resources, that is a literature search. Okay, the guidelines, the current policies, okay, regarding your work, what is the novelty of your work coming, if you are comparing with the older one, the current relevance, the perspectives of your research, or might be your research findings. Okay, and again, software tool for the references, which software you use for your reference citation, and also for the plagiarism check. So nowadays this is a modern era, and now many universities, they are accepting this type of the practices to have the good publication. So that's how the role of plagiarism software comes here in. And lastly, you are mentioning the references at the last of your work. Okay, so mainly there are three types of in-text citation. So how you are citing in text? Okay, so in body of the article, how you are going to cite the references. So the first comes here is a parenthetical citation. So what do you mean by parenthetical? So parenthetical, mainly the references in parenthesis in text. Okay, so parenthesis means in a bracket. In short way, how I can explain you, right? In the bracket you are mentioning the reference, right? So that particularly includes the author last name, or might be the family name of the author, and also the publication date, and might be the year, right? So publication date or year, and or page number. So it's depend on the journal, the citation way, how they are citing the article, or the reference in that particular article. Okay, so this is the one way how you cite the reference in the in text, in the body. The second one is a note citation. So what do you mean by note citation? Particularly this note citation references in a footnote or in a end note. Footnote means particularly the superscript with the bracket. Okay, that is called as a footnote. End note is Vancouver style, what we are like, a lot of people are using, like as an example is a Vancouver style. End note is like, citing the particular wordings, the paraphrase, the particular your word, and after that you are citing as an end note. End note is a only superscript, there is no bracket. Okay, so that's the difference in between footnote and end note. Okay, so one is within bracket and another one is without bracket, right? So numeric citation. So numeric citation particularly refers with the cite references in numeric index and accordingly in the reference list. Okay, so that's how you cite the references accordingly to the 1 2 3 4 like that. And then after that, in the references section, you're mentioning all these numerical references right from 1 to 10. Say suppose you have the 10 references, so 1 to 10 all you will cite accordingly in the references section. Okay, and don't forget that you're using any particular site of citation. That might be the Vancouver, sometimes that might be the Harvard. Okay, it's depend on which type of reference style you're using, right? So dear participants, like and the viewers, like now we discuss about all the references and all other types of the plagiarism basics of these type of things. So now we will discuss about the types of references citation style. Okay, so this is the first comes here is a Vancouver referencing style. Okay, so this is given particularly by International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. Okay, so ICMJE is the body that mainly introduce and closely working with the Vancouver referencing style, and mainly is utilized in the field of medicine. Okay, so here you can see the referencing style I given here. The first three referencing style here in this right hand side, the clockwise, is mainly related with the medicine, and most of the pharmacy student I know that, and those are working in the research field. Those are communicating with their journals, their articles with the journals, right? So they are mainly using the Vancouver and the Harvard style, as per my knowledge, and with the NLM, that is the National Library of Medicine. Some of you might be using that with the medicine field, right? So this is the field I given here, the medicine, and they are using the numeric like 1 2 3 4. Okay, Harvard style, mainly there is a parenthetical in bracket, author and the year. Okay, so mainly Harvard style used by the economics. Those are working in economics, and those are dealing with that particular field. Again, National Library of Medicine, NLM, they are dealing with the medicine field, and also they cite their references with the numeric site. Okay, American Medical Association also dealing with the medicine field, and they also cite by the numeric like 1 2 3 4. Okay, American Chemical Society, mainly dealing with the chemistry. Some of you might be aware about that. ACS, right? American Chemical Society, and they are dealing with their chemistry side and also using the numeric way of referencing style with the author, page number, or the notes. So sometimes the particular journals and also the authority, they used to have the number, or might be they are using sometime notes, also notes. Okay, so notes means that is the easy way, like you can recognize the scientist name and also the year when they they had their earlier research, and then that's how they recognize the people, the scientists, in that way. Okay, American Psychological Association, that is APA, mainly in the field of psychology, education, social sciences. Okay, and they are also using the parenthetical author years. Okay, so mainly as far as concerned with the pharmacy, these are the clockwise sides. You can see the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the commonly used, the citation of the references. Apart from that, this is just for your knowledge. Okay, so those are watching other than pharmacy field, they can get benefit out of that. Okay, so there is another referencing style is Chicago. In Chicago also we have Chicago A, Chicago B, and mainly Chicago is dealing with the history and humanities, and Chicago B is mainly dealing with the sciences and social sciences. And also this Turiabian is the updated version, we can say, of the Chicago. Okay, so this is the referencing style. They borrow some of the things from the Chicago referencing style as per the literature review what it suggests. Okay, and mainly they have the notes and also the parenthetical, that is author and year. And there are certain other types of referencing style that mainly includes these all short forms. So these are the American Political Sciences Review, APSA. Okay, so this mainly concerned with the political science. Some of these Oxford University standard for the citation of legal authorities, that is called as OSCOLA, also mainly dealing with the law. Okay, and engineering IT, mainly IEEE. Okay, so this is the referencing style, the numeric way they are using, that is given by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. Okay, and then Modern Language Association is mainly dealing with the humanities, and they are citing the parenthetical like author and page number. And the last one is the American Anthropological Association. Those are mainly studying with the history and the historical things like anthropology, the social studies, and mainly they are dealing with the numeric side. So these are the software tools for the references citation. Okay, so some of the software you can find and you can explore, okay, afterwards. So these are the some few softwares I given, but there are many. Actually there are many software tools available online. Whenever you're searching with the with the proper search engine and with the proper keywords, you can find many softwares dealing with the references citation. Okay, and these are few of them. Okay, but mainly what are those particularly used widely globally accepted one? Okay, so these are the software tools used for the references citation, and these are the mainly widely used. That is the EndNote is like just now we saw the interface of the Web of Science, right? So EndNote is coming from the Web of Science. The mainly is another one. Okay, and also the Zotero. So these are the three mainly accepted references citation software globally. Even though you can see some of the YouTube video and you can learn how to cite the references using the Microsoft Word even. Okay, so even with the mainly you can see a lot of journals inside. With the EndNote you can see a lot of journals inside. Zotero also goes something like that. Okay, so basically you can choose also what are those types of a reference style you want. So might be some journal they accept Vancouver style, some may have the Harvard style, some may follow the APA style, some may follow the NLM side, the National Library of Medicine. So it's depend and it's your requirement, like what particular reference style you want, or might be used, it is suggested by your university or might be your college. So college, university, institute, organization, they have their own guidelines, they have their own policy to to have the proper reference citation. So it's depend on that, and accordingly you can select in this software what are the particular reference style you want. And ultimately you need to give some the keywords, like say suppose like the title of the article or the author of the article, and that's how you can search some article from that, and then you can directly copy that particular reference from that software to the Microsoft Word, and that's how it will be easy for you to cite the references accordingly. And that's how it's made our life very easy compared to the olden era. Like we used to have the citation of the references manually. And also this type of referencing style will also give the the transparency, the visibility, and also the credit to the right author instead of giving to the other author the credit, right? So that's how this is the importance of the references tool, and giving the credit to the proper author, right? So these are the interface. So this is the interface from Web of Science group, and this is the EndNote X9. So this is the latest version they have. Okay, so obviously you need to buy this because this is the paid one. Okay, so earlier what I shown, that is a free one. Okay, but it's depend the quality of plagiarism you will get, or the quality of the references style you will get. Okay, so that depends on the paid version also, because sometime after paying you will get the premium access. With the use of freely software you will get some limited access, but still for references citation, I believe that some of the free software are also as good as with the paid type of this type of software. But for the plagiarism we need to have the paid software, obviously, because it's depend on their database. So if they have the good database for the plagiarism checker, that is very good, and that's how you can have your proper work. Okay, with the quality publication. So this is another reference style that is the mainly is widely used globally. Okay, this is their interface. So later you can go and explore. Okay, so because this type of software need some extra time to learn, and then it might be possible with the workshop. Okay, and this is another one is Zotero. Okay, so this is another software you can use to cite your references accordingly, and that's how it will give some appropriateness for your research work, right? So this is about the importance of citation and references. So now the more interesting part is how to avoid the plagiarism. So once you know what are the types of plagiarism, then only you're able to avoid that. If you don't know what are the types of plagiarism, what is the meaning of plagiarism, you are not maybe able to avoid that plagiarism. So that's how you need to know first what do you mean by plagiarism. So this is the definition given by COPE. What do you mean by COPE? So COPE is a Committee on Publication Ethics. So they also have their own website. So that's how you need to improve your knowledge of plagiarism, your knowledge of avoiding the plagiarism by going through their policy, going through their guidelines, going through the examples they have given there, and then that's how you can improve yourself to be familiarized with the current guidelines the COPE is giving, COPE, right? So this is the definition I took from their website. So this is the plagiarism definition. So how we define plagiarism? So mainly the plagiarism ranges from the unreferenced use of others published and unpublished ideas. So sometime you as an author, maybe like some author they won't give the any reference. Okay, and that's how the published work or might be the unpublished works will go accordingly with the not citing proper reference, and that's how the role of plagiarism comes here, and that's how the plagiarism starts here. Okay, including the research grant. As I told you earlier, in the scientific writing, the research grant is also coming. Nowadays, that trend might come in the research grant also. Okay, but most of the research grant, they started this type of, the practicing plagiarism checking and everything. But still, some of the funding agency, they are still not checking the, the plagiarism in the research grant application. But now you can expect in the coming time that thing also in the research grant application. Okay, to the submission under the new authorship of a complete paper. Okay, if you are submitting any paper, or sometimes in a different language. So sometimes you are converting from English to any other language. So sometimes it is very hard to, suspect that type of plagiarism. But still, some of the author already caught by having this type of plagiarism from English to any other language. And that's how the role of, the software is important in this case. It may occur at any stage of planning, research, writing, or publication. So the plagiarism can occur at any stage. Whenever you are planning your PhD, whenever you are planning your research work, or maybe you're writing your thesis, okay, or might be you're publishing your article, right? So it may occur at any point of time. So you have to be very careful, and that's how the role of software comes here in the plagiarism checking. It applies to the print and as well to the electronic version. Okay, so it applies to all. Actually, it's not only related with the, the those are having the hard copy, or those are having the, the online journal or something like that. So it applies to all, electronic as well as the hard copy, the printed copy. And that's how they, like, committee on publication ethics, they mention this, the definition of plagiarism in their guidelines on good publication practice. So here on their website you can get the pdf also file for the good guidelines on the good publication practice, and that's how you can improve your research work in the coming future. So that's how we define, the types of plagiarism. So what are those types of plagiarism? The first comes here is a clone. So this particular, the types of plagiarism given by the uh, Turnitin. Okay, so as in IMU, in my university, we are using this software, the Turnitin software. Okay, for checking the plagiarism for the staff as well as for the student. Okay, so that's how we can improve our work to be free, plagiarize free. Okay, and we can have the proper publication in the journal. Okay, so the first particular type of plagiarism here is a clone. Clone is like, it's a word to word copying same from the other author. So that's how we define the clone here in a types of plagiarism. Okay, I'm not going in much detail. Okay, so remix. So what do we mean by types of remix and the types of plagiarism? So mixing and paraphrases. Okay, so what the authors are doing generally, like they are taking the 10 articles and, like, mixing together some of the part from, one article, some of the other part, like 2-3 lines from first article, another 2-3 lines from the second article, and things like that. So that's how out of 10 articles they are making one article. So that is not the way to do that, right? So actually they are doing a plagiarism with the remix. Okay, even though they are citing the references, but still it's coming under the plagiarism. It's not like you need to copy paste from one source to the another source. It's not the way to do that, right? So that's how we define a remix as a case of plagiarism. Okay, so many, like, review articles are published accordingly, and then many authors caught doing the plagiarism likewise. Okay, so what do you mean by mashup? So again, mashup is similar kind of things with the, the earlier one is the remix one. But here sometime the author is using the multiple sources. Okay, and they are, mixing the copied material. So the whatever the articles having the copied material from the other articles, so just they are copying from that, and then they are using the multiple sources to do the mashup, and that's how they produce the article. So that is again is not the way, and it's come under the plagiarism. Another types of plagiarism is a find and replace. So what some authors are doing, just, they will maintain the skeleton, essential skeleton of the, the article accordingly, and then what they will do, they will just change the keywords. Okay, and some phrases inside the main skeleton, and that's how they change the keywords, and that's why it is called as a find replace. Okay, and that is also coming under the case of plagiarism. So only changing the keywords also coming under the case of plagiarism. Another thing is like, we have here the 10 types of plagiarism particularly. Okay, so another type is control plus C. So mainly from a single source, the author is copying, significant portion of the text from a single source, okay, without alteration. So sometimes it is like, overlapping with the clone. So clone, what we understand earlier, the first type of plagiarism is like, the kind of, the similar article, just a copy paste. There is no change. That is a clone. This is a control C, is that type of, material that wherever the single source is used and significantly the text is copied from that without alteration, much alteration even though. Okay, so that's come here in the control C type of plagiarism. Okay, another one is a recycle. So what author is doing here is particularly the articles, those are, published. Say suppose some XYZ author is published article in 2018, and now in 2019 he also published the same type of, work earlier. Again in 2020 he is publishing the same type of work, copying the, the some of the sentences from the earlier work 2018 and 19. But again, this is not the way to do that. Okay, so sometimes the author is borrowing liberally from the author's previous work without citation. So sometimes they won't cite because they felt like, if I'm citing, I will be get caught. Okay, but this is another type of plagiarism if you are going through the scientific journals and also with the scientific writing. Okay, but even though most of the scientific the people, the researcher, they are not aware about this types of, the plagiarism hybrid. So hybrid, like, perfectly the article is done with combining, all the multiple type of cited sources. Okay, and sometimes the copied passages are there without the citation. Okay, so sometimes this is a mixed type of things, like that's why it is called as a hybrid. Okay, so these are the, some articles are well cited, but still some articles are not cited properly, even though that comes under the plagiarism case, and that's why it is called as a hybrid plagiarism. Okay, the next class comes here is a aggregator. So what do you mean by aggregator? So aggregator is particularly the article that contains almost no original work. So there is no original work, but what author will do is have the proper citation to the proper source, to the parent source, to the basic source. But even though this, the work is not original sometime, so that's how the case of plagiarism comes here in the category of aggregator. Okay, and then the next class comes here is a retweet. So as the name itself indicate is that it mainly relies too closely on the original text wording. Okay, so the skeleton include proper citation, but the most of the wording is closely related with the original text from where they copied the material. Okay, so that's how the retweet is done, and that is also coming under the one of the type of, the plagiarism, and that is the serious case even. So here is a 404 error. So sometimes, even though some authors, they are very doing very cleverly, and, sometimes there are some tricks to avoid from the plagiarism, and they are doing some technical things, and that's how sometimes the software will show this type of error is called as 404 error. And even though the software is not able to able to, identify the types of plagiarism, that's how they are very clever to do that. And sometimes the citation is inaccurate, okay, about the source, and includes citation to the non-existent sources. So sometimes the citation is not properly given, Okay, sometimes the author name is wrong, sometimes the page number is not there, sometimes there is a no volume issue. So this type of examples come under the 404 error. So that's how the plagiarism goes here in this case. Okay, so these are all the 10 types of different plagiarism. So now, dear participants and online viewers, so hope so you are understanding all these types of plagiarism. So you can see, you can consider now, the many things are there. You need to think very critically whenever you are writing your scientific research, whenever you are writing your thesis or dissertation. So copy paste is not only the basic things, the basic things to write your dissertation or the thesis, but the same time you need to think about a lot of things to write your scientific work. Okay, so obviously, if you want to launch your publication in a correct way, in a proper manner, if you want to submit your assignment research proposal in a proper way, in an ethical way, even though I can say in an ethical way, in a in a professional way, so what you need to consider is your content, right? So your content should be free of, obviously, with the plagiarism, and also with the proper citation, giving credit to the proper authors. Obviously the quality should be there, as like as I told you, the to improve your communication skill as well as the writing skills. And also, obviously, the references and plagiarism free content. So obviously you are using the plagiarism free content with the proper citation of the references. So if you are doing this type of all the you are taking care of all these parameters, so obviously you will get the success in your near future with your publication. So these are the some software related with the similarity index checking and also the plagiarism check. Because why I given here the similarity index? Okay, so some software still there is a question mark on checking the plagiarism, because their database is not up to the mark. Okay, so database means what? How we are going to check the plagiarism? Okay, so database need to be very updated. Okay, whenever it comes with the free type of software or the tools, sometimes the database of their software is not up to the mark, and that's how the cases of plagiarism is not reported, or it's not identified, even though so these are the some the software, the freely available software. Okay, you can start with, you can explore with. But even though I can recommend, these are the two very very accepted type of software or the tools for the similarity index and plagiarism check globally. So these are the two, like Turnitin and also the Authenticate. Authenticate is also the product of Turnitin. So whenever you are going with the Turnitin website, this is a software for checking the plagiarism. Okay, obviously it's a paid one. Okay, so might be institute, if they have the plan to purchase that, they can contact with their website, and then they can explore that. So Turnitin and also the Authenticate, like many the publishing house, the publication house, even though I'm dealing with the Olters Kluwer as one of the chief editor for Journal of Pharmaceutical Research and Clinical Practice. So we are using Authenticate as a software for checking the plagiarism. Okay, and many they accepted these two types of software globally, and many they are using for this. They're in university or in their institute. Okay, so these are the two or some articles I given here regarding the Turnitin. Okay, so is it a text matching or plagiarism detection tool? Still, some of the author, like these two authors, they did some survey, like Turnitin, what is the depth of checking the plagiarism, whether it's really a plagiarism checking tool, or really it's a only the text matching tool. Okay, so still there is the debate is going on this. So maybe in near future we can have the database that is more reliable, but nowadays till date we have these two, whatever I mentioned earlier. These are the two you can have the more reliability, and then how you can check your plagiarism. Okay, another one is plagiarism continues to affect the scholarly journals. So even though there are many reported cases, so as the article is getting published in the journals, and after that sometime the editor in chief or might be the somebody will report that this type of work is already I done, and then it's coming under the plagiarism. So that's how there is a conflict come, and that's why they need to withdraw the article, and sometime they need to disclose that particular article if that comes under the plagiarism case. Okay, so this is the article is giving about the cases. So mainly this particular editor in chief for the Journal of Korean Medical Sciences, he reported, he given some 3 cases, like how he was dealt with that particular cases, and then later you can go if you are interested in this. Okay, so how to avoid the similarity and the plagiarism. So this is a much important factor if you want to move forward, and then you want to have some good publication. So follow the publication ethic, that is very important. And what we understand earlier is academic integrity. As a student, you should have to do your work very honestly, and you need to because everyone is having the trust on the student, and then if you are dealing with this type of plagiarism, obviously in near future you may have the complication. So that's why it's better to have the ethics related to the publication. Okay, know more about the types of plagiarism, their guidelines and the policies. So what we discussed earlier, as a researcher, you need to know the types of plagiarism, then only you are able to avoid that, right? If you know the proper guidelines and also the policies. Again, the paraphrasing is the only way. So as I told you earlier, the paraphrasing is, you can avoid doing that, avoid doing that, copying the same and the copy paste type of things. But another way of writing your scientific work is the paraphrasing. So how you are going with the paraphrasing? So paraphrasing means, the first one comes here is a know your research problem first. So whenever you are doing any research, you need to know your problem, research problem first. If you don't know your problem itself, then you may be in trouble afterwards, because whenever you're not able to manage your time accordingly, then that is one of the cause how it lead with the plagiarism. So that's how you need to know your problem first, the research problem, then only you can have the proper answer for that. Think innovatively. So that's why you need to be very critical in doing the research, in doing the literature search, in citing the references, and also checking the plagiarism from your work. Read and develop practice of writing. So whenever you are referring, like I given the example earlier, like some of the author, what they did earlier, there is an example already mentioned in the website. You can go through in the COPE website afterwards, and you can refer. There are many actually the reported plagiarism cases, and that's how the author did the mistakes earlier in their research. They just simply they refer the 10 articles, and out of that they publish one of the article. So that is not the way of doing the things. So you need to read the article, the basic research, you need to do that. You need to do the proper literature search, you need to go through the articles first, read that, and then try to write in your own language, or type in your own language if you are not able to write it. Okay, so write down, or type in the Microsoft Word, and then don't see the original article. So that's how you can avoid doing the plagiarism. So that's how you can further improve in the paraphrasing. Okay, try to write and rephrase. Okay, and don't rely too much on the base resource. So what I explained earlier, don't see that article earlier, whatever published article, just go through first, maybe like one time, two time, three times, and then try to write down in your own way what is the concept, what is the research problem, and what particular answer you have for that particular problem. Okay, so that is the way how you paraphrase, and that is the way how you avoid from the plagiarism. Okay, quotation mark. So in some cases, it's very hard to write in your own way. that also I can understand. So in that case, you need to write the same sentence in the quotation and then cite a proper reference. Okay, so say suppose if you are copying some particular part, say suppose one particular line from the one article, so you need to quote that. Okay, give the quotation. So particularly in the inverted comma, you need to mention that sentence and give the proper reference for that particular sentence, so that it will be well defended and it's not come under the plagiarism case. So that's how you avoid from the plagiarism. But say suppose you are giving a lot of quotation in your research article, or might be in the in scientific writing, then again there is a chance of getting the rejection. If you are writing 2 pages of article and half page is about the quotation, so obviously the getting rejection from the editor in chief and also from the journal management side is the much higher side if you have the more quotation in your research work, or might be in your review article. Okay, so cite source as well as the other reading materials appropriately. Okay, so whatever the resource you are using for the research or your review article, you need to cite that. And whatever the reading material also you are reading for your research, you need to mention it correctly, so that you're not going to be in the trouble. Okay, so that's how the paraphrasing role is also important in the avoiding the plagiarism. Okay, avoid future complication. So that's how if you're taking care of all the paraphrasing and also citing the references correcting correctly and also giving the quotation very properly, if you're copying that particular sentence directly, okay, without alteration and without changing, without rephrasing, so that's how you avoid the future complications of the plagiarism. Okay, because it's a serious offense after all. So uh, that's how I want to give you the one last message to all of you as a the future researcher and the future scientist. So let's contribute to the pharmacy education and research by enhancing the quality education. So this is the quote, one of the quote again I wrote, and in every just session I just highlight this. Let's contribute to the pharmacy education and also the research by enhancing the quality education to motivate the people in the pharma field. Okay, so these are the references I use for this presentation, and thank you. If you have any question, please let me know. And also I given my email address here. If you have any question afterwards, you can write email to me so that I can answer for that. Okay, so that's all. And I would like to thanks to management of International Medical University, okay, to allow me to give this lecture, this lecture session for you in this FDP. Okay, and hope so, dear participants, you know about the referencing now and the citation. Okay, and also the plagiarism, the importance of that, and the rationale of doing the plagiarism, avoiding the plagiarism. Okay, so thank you so much, and please let me know if you have any question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, as this is very curious part and as well as a very vast part of this
Yeah,
paper
yeah.
publication of any research work. So there are much more questions regarding the citation and plagiarism. So I will take first question, sir. So first question is, what percentage of plagiarism that is acceptable in any paper publication?
Okay, that's a good question. And then the participants is on the track, so they asked the correct question to me. Actually, I want to tell that in my presentation, but somehow I forgot that. Okay, so actually, it's depend on the university. So suppose you are a student in university. So in my university, like we are accepting 10 to 15% is a max. It's a maximum. Some university they may ask to have the less than 10% even, because some of the journals I know, they are accepting the articles that having less than of 10% even. because it's depend on the organization to organization, and also it's depend on the university. Say suppose you are submitting your PhD thesis, right? So because I don't know, the question came from the staff or something like that, so that's why I'm giving the all perspective. Okay, so actually if you are a PhD student, if you are submitting your thesis to the university, the university may have some norms, like what policy they have. So you should know that first, what policy they have, what academic integrity they have, what guidelines they have regarding the plagiarism, what software they are using. Because I told you earlier, like it's depend on the software also. Sometimes some software are not that reliable. Sometimes if you are doing the plagiarism also, they are not able to capture that, right? So because sometimes the author is writing in a such a way that it's very difficult to capture that by software. So even though that may happen sometime, right? So my answer for this is depend on your university, your organization. So some like what I can say, globally what we can say is 10 to 15% is acceptable, even though some they are maybe like accepting less than 5% even. Okay, so it's depend where you're going to submit that particular scientific writing. Okay, so you need to check with their guidelines policy, and that's how you deal with that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So next question is, while preparing our manuscript, sometimes we have to add some images, graphs, or any other figures. So, but most of them are copyrighted. So how to avoid that kind of plagiarism?
Yes, that's a good question. Again, I can say, okay, so actually, say, suppose, like, with this pandemic scenario, like we have a lot of information on World Health Organization website, WHO, right? So if you
Yes.
want to copy something from that, images or figure, you need to take copyright permission from them. You need to take a permission from them, because that is all material is copyright. Okay, some material is copyright free. Okay, that you can use for a learning purpose, or for your the improving purpose, but some particular things you cannot use. Okay, for even though for the learning purpose and the teaching. So it's better to take a permission from the authority. Say suppose you are using any image, so that type of plagiarism cases also happen. Okay, that's why I given in my presentation the definition of plagiarism, right? And also I told you to refer the COPE website, that is Committee on Publication Ethics. Okay, so there you can find the example of cases that already reported, and how they deal with the plagiarism. So whenever you are copying something from image, figure, this is one of the case given there on their website. Okay, so what question you asked me just now, that already case reported, because this is a common practice some authors are doing, and without taking permission, right? So that is that is not the way to do that. So it's better to take a permission. So from their website you will get their details, the contact details, the contact information. So you just drop their email, or you can get some the permission from them if you want to publish that particular figure in your research article, in your review article. Okay, so that is the way you do it ethically and professionally. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Next question is, in any research or review paper, how much credit goes to the co-author according to the consideration of paper publication?
Okay, it's again depend on your organization. Okay, so this is like it's like UGC is having the API, right? Academic performance indicator, right? So
Yes,
their
yes,
norms are different, right? So I'm working in Malaysia, our norms are different. So it's
yes,
depend on the organization where you are working. Say suppose the co-authors are from the same institute, so there will be some policy. If you are working in the same institute, so there should be some policy, right? If you are working in some university, there should be some policy. So actually sometime it's depend on the organization. I cannot tell you exact what contribution, like the co-author will get and the author will get, because it may vary. So that's why there is no proper answer for this, right? So it's depend wholly upon where you are working, and how you are giving credit to the corresponding author, to the first author, to the second author, to the third author. And if say suppose like the five authors are there in one paper, in one article. Okay, so out of five authors, only one the person is from the one organization, another person from all other organizations. Say suppose A, B, C, D, E, all are from the different organization. So that's how the contribution goes in different way. The contribution goes in different way. Okay, so it's totally depend upon the organization where you are working. So before publication you should know that the policy guidelines. Okay, so if I'm a corresponding author, how much credit I will get? If I'm a the first author, if I'm a third author, if I'm a last author, so what type of credit I will get out of that, and what is my contribution in writing the research article, in writing the review article. Because contribution is also matters, right? Because there are many components in the research, like design and writing and checking and taking a review of the articles, and a lot of things are there, checking the grammars and so many things. So it's depend on the the particularly the organization, how they are giving the particular contribution to the each author. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So next question is, can we analyze the quality of any journal by the fees they are offering for the payment?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Can we analyze the quality of any journal by the fees they are offering for the payment? There are much more paid journals are there also.
Yes, yes. Cannot. You cannot. It's not like that. So what I explained to you earlier, like you can go through the web of science, because there are many predatory things are there. Those are giving the impact factor. So we have the impact factor, so and like that. Okay. So to my opinion, don't believe on that. So what is globally accepted is a web of science and ISI and then JCR, right? General the citation report, right? So you will get all the information there. What is the quality of journal, what is the impact factor of the journal? Okay. So we can't really we can't really correlate it with the paid journal with the quality and something like that. Because some organization, they are totally depend upon the fees they are charging for the publication, because they won't have any other resource to get the the funding. So that's how they charge to the author, right? So they
Yes.
need to fulfill their all employment on all other things. So that's why they charge. And might be those journals sometimes may not have the impact factor even. Some journals are get funded by the organization, some government body, some private body, and that's how they maintain their all the charges, and that's why they won't charge to the author. Okay,
Yes.
so that's why
Yes.
there is a difference in between the the char those journals are charging and those are not charging. But we can't really we can't really rely on that, and we can't really analyze the price of the publication and also the quality of the journal. Okay, even though I can say like many journals are there, they are not charging a single a single dollar, but still they are very good journals, quality journals having good impact factor.
Yes. Sir, next question is, as you had said earlier in your slides, what about the remix and mashup plagiarism? So, what is the main difference between this remix and mashup plagiarism?
Okay, remix and mashup. Sometime remix is like mainly related with the like what I told you earlier is like taking 4 5 articles and mixing together. So just copying from 2 3 articles from here, 2 3 sentence from one article, 2 3 sentence from the another article, and things like that. And that's how you create your own article, another article, right? So that's how the remix goes. Okay, mashup means like there are these things are common, what I explained to you in remix. But other than that, in some articles, some the sentence are just copied but not properly cited. Okay, so that's how you do the mashup. So mashup the author is doing because of they are having the fear to get caught. because of the plagiarism. That's why the some author they are doing intentionally, some they are doing unintentionally, as like they are not aware about the policy of the plagiarism and also the citation of the correct way. So sometime it may happen unintentionally in the mashup because of just copying the matter from each other, and then sometime they forgot to mention the correct reference. Sometime they give the wrong reference even. Okay, so that's how I mentioned the wrong volume, wrong issue. It's not there, but they given like unintentionally. It may happen sometime. So that's how the remix is goes like that, and then mashup will go accordingly with the remix, and some of the content is not properly cited. Just they will copy paste some of the sentence from the previous article without citation even. Okay, so these are the examples comes here in the mashup type of plagiarism.
Yes. So next question is it safe to use free software for the referencing citation or plagiarism? Is it safe?
Okay, safe in what aspect? Actually, using the free software for the referencing style, so there is not much problem with the free referencing style if you don't want to purchase any other the paid one. But in plagiarism, as I told you, even for the referencing, I just want to add on there. Referencing, even though you can see some the videos, you just add on the some keywords in the YouTube, and then you can see some videos are there, like how they are using the Microsoft Word to align their references with the others free software. Okay, so free software are also sometime I believe one of the this reference free reference style site for me or cite this for me. Okay, so cite for me or cite this for me, this is a website where you can find a lot of journals along with also the referencing style. Okay, and that's how you can use freely. But for the plagiarism, okay, mainly I given the two software like the mainly and the authentic. So these are the very globally used software, and particularly this particular software having the much more database compared to the all other software. So again, because of the time constraint, I have not given the example of research article already done with this analysis, like how different plagiarism software are performing. So one of the author, what the author did, the author communicate one particular article with the different types of software, plagiarism software. So intentionally, the author is given 100% plagiarized content. But what the author got after all the similarity index and the plagiarism report, some software are able to detect only the 50%, some are like 80%, some are like 14%, or some even they are reporting it very lessly. So it's depend what type of database the free software is having. So for the plagiarism checking, some software still they are not the validate accordingly, they are not much reliable to use. So sometimes you won't get the plagiarized sentence in that in the free software. So it's always better to use the paid services for this type of plagiarism, because plagiarism is very serious things. So it's better not to take a risk. What that is my opinion. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Sir, there are more questions about this, but I will take last question due to time constraint.
Right.
Last question is, there are so many Scopus Index journal, as you said, but what is the way to choose the right Scopus journal? Is it depend upon the article we are writing, or is it there are any criteria for to choose the Scopus Index journal?
Okay, so what you can do, there are many Scopus Index journal. You can get, even though the list of journals, those are indexed by Scopus. So Shimago, what I told you earlier, the I shown the interface, right, with the Shimago. So the Shimago, the basic criteria is that they will take all the journals, those are Scopus Index. Okay, so you can search in their window also, in the Shimago window, that they are following the Scopus Index journals. Okay, so that's how you can uh, check their tier, the tier 1 journal, tier 2, or Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So that's how the ranking is given, Q1 to Q4. Okay, again, another question, answering to your question is that, okay, if your if your article is related with the pharmacy, okay, in pharmacy, if it is related with the pharmaceutics, so that type of journals, you just focus that type of journals. Say suppose you are doing your literature review, right? So in other way, how you can deal with that, uh, at the time of doing the literature review, you may find some suitable journals where you can communicate your article in coming time, right? So that is the another way how you can think. Okay, so one way is thinking like, you can communicate your journal, your sorry article, in the journal that particularly focuses your research area. Another way is, you can see your literature review, and you can see the journal, that particular type of work is published in that journal. So that's how you can analyze in a different way. Okay, and again, it's depend, like, the Scopus Index, you want to communicate your article with the Scopus Index journals, or to the impact factor, or so on. Okay, so
Yes.
again, obviously it's depend on the quality of the work you're giving to that particular journal, and also it's a decision of the chief editor, and also the reviewer comments, right? So the expertise comments matter in that case, and the probability of getting acceptance also varies. If you are not communicating with the proper journals, if your research area is different, and you're communicating your article with the different journal, so obviously at the first instance, they will get rejected, because their area of interest is not the same, right? So that's
Yes.
how you need to see the basic things. What is your area of research? You written your article, and then accordingly you need to try to publish that article in that particular journal.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So thank you all the participants, and thank you, sir. There are n number of queries, and this is a very vast area of research of the participant. But due to the time constraint, we will stop the question answer session here. But don't worry, all the queries will be resolved by contacting through email by Dr. Ingres, sir, for sure. So I would like to give a huge thanks to Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingres sir for sparing their valuable time and knowledge with all of us. As we all know, referencing, citation, and plagiarism, these are most intricate part of writing any scientific research. I must say the session was very beneficial for all of us, and it was beautifully explained by you, sir. We will be always grateful to you, sir, for your cooperation for the success of today's session. In last month, we have organized very successful international webinar with Dr. Praveen Kumar Ingres, sir, and we are happy to say that when we approach again to Dr. Ingres, sir, for our one session of E-Faculty Development Program, they reply us very positively within short period of time. And I must say, sir, the kind cooperation of the resource person like you made our program successful. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Dr. Amol Joshi again, and to all the team members, Dr. Chitra, okay, and also to the online viewers and the participants. Thank you so much. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. So, thank you, participants. Tomorrow is the last day of our e-faculty development program. We have our fifth day session on selection of drug to develop formulation research for PG and PhD scholar by Dr. C. Bothiraja from Bharati Vidyapit, Pune College of Pharmacy. Also, we have our valedictory session. So, please be online at sharp 11 a.m. and join our session. So, stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you very much.